I wandered through the streets in a daze, not really knowing what was going on. At first, I couldn't make out any colors. Then gradually the city came alive with vast clouds of pigmentation. Against it all, there was an ever-present mist of bright green, cloying and unpleasant. There was a dissonance about it that I couldn't place, until I realized I was smelling the rank odor of the River Ankh. I was smelling the world in a way I wouldn't have thought possible. Every smell fascinated me. The resonant scents combined into a symphony. Every street was an opera, every lamppost an invitation. I don't know how long I wandered the streets. It's hard to tell which way is up when your world has been turned upside down. I ended up back where I started because I didn't know what else to do. Plus, my coat was in the coffin, and Ankh-Morpork is a bad neighborhood to be caught naked in.
Woof, woof.
I haven't got anything to eat, if that's what you want.
Woof, woof, woof.
I haven't got any idea what's going on either.
Woof, bloody woof.
Hey,
That's pretty sharp. Most people don't catch on to that.
what did you say?
Woof, woof.
You can talk, can't you? I mean, really talk.
Nothing gets past you, does it?
How did you do that?
Well, I can sort of talk.
Nonsense. If there was a talking dog in Ankh-Morpork, I'd have heard about it.
Well, the thing is, most people don't seem to notice it.
Yeah, right. Like you wouldn't notice a talking dog.
Seems like people only see what they expect to see.
How philosophical of you.
I just calls them as I see them.
So how come I can tell you can talk?
I don't claim to understand it, I just do it.
Do you know what's happened to me?
I'm guessing you didn't know you were a werewolf till you woke up this morning.
I'm a werewolf. That explains what's happening to me. I thought somebody slipped something into my embalming fluid.
First order of business is to train you up then.
Hold it right there. I don't need your help.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. Look at yourself. What's your name?
Luton. I'm a private investigator. Well, I was. Then I was dead. Then I was, well, a werewolf, I suppose. I guess I spoke too soon. Maybe I do need your help. What's your name?
Gaspode the Wonder Dog.
The Wonder Dog?
Hey, don't knock the name. I was named after the famous Gaspode.
Never heard of him.
Most people haven't. He belonged to an old man in Ankh many years ago. When the old man died and was buried, Gaspode lay down on his grave and howled for a couple of weeks, growling at anyone who came near. Then he died.
And they called him the Wonder Dog because he was such a paragon of doggy faithfulness and loyalty.
Until they discovered that his tail had been trapped under the stone, yeah.
How do you think I became a werewolf?
Well, presumably you got bit by a werewolf.
Bitten.
Right. Lesson 1. Don't correct me grammar. All right?
Sorry.
Okay. Well, once I've trained you, I suggest that the first thing you do is try and work out how you got infected.
Infected?
With lycanthropy. It's the blood disease that werewolves have. Now, since you don't have any cubhood memories of romping with your pack, I reckon it's a safe bet that you got infected somehow.
So someone I know is a werewolf.
Give the wolf a cigar.
So can I change between being a wolf and a man at will?
Sort of. There's a certain way the change works.
The change?
There's 2 things you've got to learn about being a werewolf. The nose and the change.
The nose?
Yeah, the nose. Werewolves have a unique perception of the world, a different point of smell.
I've noticed that. I can see scents as colors, and they have a certain feel about them, too.
Those colours are unique. Each smell has its own signature colour. So you can tell whether or not someone has been somewhere by whether or not you can see their scent there.
Even as a man?
No, only when you're a wolf.
And how do I switch between forms?
That's what the change is all about. It's a skill you've got to learn how to do. Now, you've already used it to turn into a wolf. Soon, you'll be able to change whenever you wanna.
How did I change this time if I didn't know how?
That's the other thing about the change. You have to change at the full moon. I guess that's what brought this on in the first place. Other times, it's voluntary.
So can I change now?
Give it a try.
At first I didn't know what to do, but Gaspode talked me through it. Then, when I could see the world in all its psychedelic glory, Gaspode started teaching me about the nose.
You look around, tell me what you see as a wolf.
There's a lot of colors.
Phew. I can see how you became a private investigator. You get a lot more information about scents with your werewolf senses. You can see them as colours.
I can see a mist of bright green surrounding everything. And there's something that looks like a long stream of purplish-red cloud with some tiny fluorescent greenish-yellow-purple specks in it. Also, there's a ground fog of some kind of unpleasant blue.
Well, the bright green is the stench of the River Onk. No mistake in that. That long stream of cloud sounds like the scent of someone having gone through the cemetery recently. Does it smell like a privy carpet?
No, it smells like Carlotta, but with less treble.
Well, it wasn't me then. I guess I'm the ground fog of unpleasant blue.
Who was it?
I don't know who it was, but it was someone.
I can't see my own scent.
Well, that's normal. You're so used to being around it that it's invisible to you. And that's handy for me, what with my stench and all.
So I can follow the purplish scent to find this person.
If you want, and assuming you don't lose the trail. Other smells eventually drown scents out, especially out on the streets.
What about the coruscating dots?
What's it like?
It's like flashing green, yellow, purple.
Is it like mature mould with an earthy echo?
No.
It's not you then? Dunno what it is. See where else you find it and you might be able to work out what it is.
According to Gaspode, I could learn a lot from comparing different scents. I figured that could come in handy in my line of work. Assuming I could change back to being human, that is. I gave it my best shot.
Nicely done.
I learnt from a master.
Right, that's about it. Apart from the full moon, you can be whatever you want to be. But as of the full moon, you're sniffing lampposts with the rest of us.
Well, here we are then. We are currently a werewolf. And I'm assuming we will be a werewolf for the rest of our life. Before we go into all the lovely new mechanics, let's speak to Gaspode. Gaspode appears in quite a lot of the Discworld series.
I'm back.
Good boy.
Are you the only dog on the streets, then?
No.
Tell me about the others.
The Dog Guild. Bunch of troublemakers trying to overthrow the master race.
Overthrow the master race?
Yeah, your kind. Well, your kind before some werewolf bit you.
And who do you think could have bit me?
Well, there are a few werewolves in Ankh-Morpork. Like any busy metropolis, we have our share of the ethnic minorities.
Not all of those minorities change shoes by about 14 sizes in the full moon, though.
True enough.
You said there were a few werewolves in Ankh-Morpork.
That's right.
Do you know any of them?
I thought I knew all of them.
Who are they?
Well, there's Ludmilla Cake.
Who's she?
Mrs. Cake's daughter. Even in human form, Ludmilla is built to a larger scale, and she has slightly pointed ears and teeth which are white and beautiful but catch the light in a disturbing way.
What's she like?
Apparently, she has this disturbing habit of staring at people's throats while she talks to them, which tends to put a damper on the conversation.
Anyone else?
There's Lupine, although he's technically a were-man. He's a 7-foot-tall, muscular, hairy young man with long canines, pointy ears and yellow eyes during the full moon. The rest of the time he is a real wolf.
That must make relations with other werewolves difficult.
Well, he appears to have a satisfactory liaison with Ludmilla, despite being the same shape only 1 week per month.
That all of them?
After that, there's only Angua.
Angua?
I don't want to talk about Angua.
Where does Angua come from?
I told you, I don't want to talk about it.
Angua is a member of the Watch. And right now I can't remember what her rank is currently.
Do you see scents as colours?
Nah, I'm just a dog.
How did you know what I was talking about?
I just had to think about what the things I could smell would look like as a colour. Wasn't too hard.
Can you go through those colours again?
Oh, all right. There was the general bright green mist of the River Ankh, right?
Right. And the hideously unbearable blue fog is you.
Hey, it was only unpleasant a short while ago.
You're telling me.
Then you've got a trail of purplish red with flashing dots, which is where somebody passed through the cemetery.
But we don't know who.
Right. And if you don't follow it before the smell of the Ankh drowns it out, you'll just have to wait until you find it again somewhere else and compare it.
Tell me about the Dog Guild.
I already told you. A bunch of troublemakers.
But there's no guild house for a guild of dogs.
That's right. No motto and no coat of arms. Not even a little tartan one.
So what's the deal?
The guild is made up of all the dogs who have been bad boys.
How do you join?
You have to run away from your owner.
What does a dog guild do?
Same as a regular guild.
Cut themselves off from everyone else and act smug?
That's about it. It controls scavenging rights, nighttime barking duties, breeding missions and howling rotas.
Seriously?
Well, it used to when Big Fido was in charge. Since he, disappeared, they've basically just run around as a pack of thugs.
Disappeared?
He's dead. I know he's dead anyway. I saw it happen. But observational evidence isn't as compelling as you'd like to think. Nah, most of the dogs believe that he lives on, leading a huge pack of mountain wolves who nightly strike terror into isolated farmsteads. I guess it makes digging in the middens and hanging around the back doors for scraps seem, more bearable.
We're only doing it until Big Fido gets back.
Exactly.
Who was Big Fido?
He used to be a rather dainty white poodle with the overgrown remains of a poodle cut and wearing a diamante collar.
What happened?
He went, to hijack a phrase, barking mad. One day he realised that everything around him, his bowl, his collar, his kennel, his blanket, had his name on it. He ate his blanket, savaged his owner, and ran off to found the Dog Guild.
And others followed him?
He intimidated others with his dream that all dogs were wolves at heart and needed only to band together to overthrow humanity, the master race, and reclaim their ancient heritage.
And where is he now?
Nobody knows. But mothers tell their pups to be good, or Big Fido will get 'em.
I thought you said he was dead.
Oh, he is. I saw it happen. Sorta fell to his death. His sorry remains were picked up by foul old Ron and sold to a furrier in about 5 minutes. But that's just what actually happened. That doesn't mean anyone knows what happened.
The myth has more power than the truth.
You're not as dumb as you look, are you, Luton? I'll make a wolf out of you yet.
Did you run away from your owner?
Not exactly.
What happened?
He threw me into the river in a sack with a brick when I was a pup.
How did you survive?
Well, luckily, the river was the Ark, so I just walked ashore in the sack.
That's quite a puppyhood you had.
Yeah, and that's not mentioning the certain confused relationship I had with the brick for several days.
So you've never had an owner?
Well, I was fixed up with some owners.
Were they nice?
Oh, they were nice, all right. They were so bloody nice, it drove me nuts. Yeah, they were always patting me and giving me a bloody B-A-T-H. Yeah. They even gave me a little bright doggy bowl with the words Mr. Huggy on it.
And you ran away?
The moment the brush hit the bubble bath.
I have a question. I thought that dogs were colourblind. So how does Gaspode know what colour each of the scents actually are? I doubt that Gaspode will know anything about the murders that are happening.
Do they get werewolves in Uberwald?
Luton, Uberwald is the undead capital of the Disc.
And werewolves count as undead?
And if Sir would care to look to his left, where we can see the open grave that Sir was recently self-exhumed from.
I get the point. What about the von Uberwald clan?
I think I've heard of those. Isn't their motto Carpe Jugulum?
Seize the throat?
Yeah, sounds about right.
What do you know about a dwarf named Al-Khali?
Don't know him.
Of course not.
You seem to have your ear to the street.
Ha, ha.
Have you heard anything about the counterweight killings?
I've heard a little.
What do you make of it?
Whoever it is, I don't think he's from outside Ankh-Morpork.
What makes you say that?
No one cares about what happens in Ankh-Morpork except for those of us who live here.
That's nonsense. We almost went to war with Klatch not that long ago.
Yeah, but now they've done that once, they're hardly likely to do it again. Nah, trust me, it's a local job.
Do you know anything about Reagan's murder?
Gordon Bennett, who do you think I am? Laddie the Wonder Dog?
There's some kind of bestial attacker out in the streets of Ankh-Morpork. It's hard to say anything about it, but could it be a werewolf?
What's it done?
It's killed at least 3 people, and probably a few more besides.
Did it kill you?
Yes, I think it did.
Well then, whatever it is, isn't a werewolf.
What makes you say that?
If it was, it'd have known how to kill you properly, right?
So what do you think it was?
Beats the hell out of me.
Do you know anything about a legendary golden sword?
Oh, of course. I've got one over here. Where did I put it?
Ha ha. If I mention a gold-plated jewel, will you say something sarcastic?
It's a good bet.
I think that we're done here.
Thanks for your help, Gaspode.
I live to serve you, master.
I have another question. Luton was stabbed in the belly. So how did he end up as a werewolf?
My own grave. How depressing. I decided against crawling back into my grave. My tombstone, Luton P.I. Gone and forgotten. Not the epitaph I'd hoped for. I thought I could smell a woman around my tombstone. There was a water-soaked letter by my graveside. There's a letter at my graveside.
Who's it from?
Ilsa,
Who's Ilsa?
an old flame of mine from the good old days.
How old?
Old enough to be good.
What does it say?
It appears to be a love letter.
Dear Luton, I'm writing this letter even though I know I will never have the courage to give it to you. I have to leave Ankh-Morpork. I can't tell you why. I wish I could. These last few days have meant the world to me, but I haven't the strength to tell you to your face that I can never be yours. I am married to an Agatean man named Two Conkers, and I thought I would never see him again. He was dead to me, and my life was empty. Please believe me, I never meant to hurt you. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. I will always look back on the Hotel Pseudopolis fondly.
You all right?
Sure, this is just one of those big emotional scenes like in the Clickies.
I suppose a bone is out of the question. Maybe a dog biscuit? Wag, wag?
Why did she leave the letter here? And why has Luton returned it back to the ground? It sounds like a letter that she would have written back when she first left Luton. Anyway, let's look at this fun new mechanic. So now we can transform into the werewolf at will. And we can see the world from a different perspective. And as you can see here, we can view different scents, and each scent has its own colour. Sorry, I got distracted by that growling just then.
The scent of a woman around my grave.
Now we can actually collect scents from around the world, but the ones here are already in our scent screen right here.
Something had passed through the cemetery and left a very strange trail. The smell of Gaspode the Wonder Dog, not unlike that of a privy carpet.
Now let's return back to here. So as you can see, we have different scents. Some are already revealed, and some we have to find out for ourselves.
The aroma of a very old and slightly damp nursery rug. Eau de Gaspode. The unmistakable scent of the River Ankh. A strange scent I first found in the cemetery. The scent of a woman.
Now this is quite an interesting puzzle, and it's one that I enjoy. The aim here is to combine the scents to work out which is which and who belongs to who, etc, etc. Now if we combine Magenta and Lady Ilsa Varberg, as these scents look like they're the same colour. Almost. Okay, let's try that again.
The two scents had a superficial similarity. One was more supernatural than the other, though.
So no, the magenta is not Lady Ilsa Varberg. I think that Lady Ilsa Varberg is fuchsia. And even though these colours look entirely different, we can still try to combine them.
You couldn't possibly confuse Gaspode's scent with anything else. It was unique. Although the magenta scent wasn't pleasant, it was in the junior league when compared to the Ankh. Gaspode's stench had style, but the Ankh had the volume. The two scents didn't match. It smelled totally different.
Right, there was a clue when we spoke to Gaspode, and that was regarding following the trail of a scent. And this is a trail right here, so if we double click on it, hopefully it will take us somewhere new.
I followed the magenta scent with a certain sense of grim inevitability. I already knew where it would lead.
I will start revisiting various locations at some point, but for now, let's continue on with the trail.
There was some kind of moss on the ground where I had been killed. It obviously didn't grow here, which means it came from somewhere else. The question was where.
And why is it here?
Having a chalk outline outside just didn't put people in the mood to gamble. It was probably the only time in my life I'd had an effect on high society. I couldn't think of a good reason to erase the chalk outline other than the giddy thrill of vandalism. The green scent smelled like vegetation.
I'm guessing that the dark green blob is the moss.
The scent was too faint to remember. Down by the river, the smell of the Ankh was... oh, I don't know. It was pretty bad anyway. The magenta trail led to the site of my murder. I guess it must be the murderer's trail.
Maybe we can follow it further?
I followed my murderer's trail back to the Temple of Small Gods.
Oh. Is this our culprit? Right here?
The trail led to the Temple of Small Gods. Then I lost it.
Okay, so it stops here. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is the person who we're looking for. Never mind, let's head back to the office and then we will continue on with the case.
The cemetery was at the back of the Temple of Small Gods. Either I was going over to the temple or I wasn't. That's all there was to it. When I returned to my office for the first time since my murder, a man was already there. I knew he was a man because Corporal Nobbs was the only person in Ankh-Morpork who has to carry a letter to confirm his species. He's the kind of man you get itchy from just talking to. There must be something here. Hello, Nobby. Luton, you're alive? I was just cleaning out your desk. Yes, of everything of value. Didn't they bury you? Rumors of my death have been slightly exaggerated. Meaning? Meaning I'm not dead, I just got buried. Yeah, don't tell me the details. Suit yourself. Nice crowbar you're using to jimmy open my drawers. Yeah. I sort of borrowed it from the evidence room. That's okay. I sort of borrowed it from a cart. Oh, I searched Reagan's body. There were 2 tiny bite marks on it. Really? I guess it was more suspicious than you thought. Well, I ought to go. Looks like you don't need your things collecting. How goes the case? The counterweight killings? Oh, still not much progress. They wouldn't let me investigate it if they thought there would be. How many murders do you guys think there are? 3. One of the patrician's clerks, the reader of esoteric occultism up at Unseen University, and one of the city's richest merchants. There'd be 3 more if you counted Mundy, Reagan, and Malachite. I suppose so. Still not convinced? Well, Vimes isn't convinced. Even though I've been cleared, I have to get back to the yard. Nobby didn't seem very comfortable around me. I didn't know if it was because of my return from the grave or because I'd caught him trying to steal everything of value that wasn't tied down. Although with Nobby, even if you tied it down, he'd steal the string. The only thing I was sure of was that my next step was to look into the counterweight killings. I had a feeling I wasn't going to like what I found.
It's been a long time since anyone tried to jimmy open my drawers. Oh look, a crowbar.
My old trusty crowbar, stolen by me from the golem, then stolen from me by the watch, stolen by Nobby from the evidence cabinet, and finally back into my hands again. There was a poetic injustice about it all.
I guess that we should collect it, even though we already have one. And no, we don't get two. It just replaces the one that we already have. Well, time to start going around and collecting some scents. I'm going to start with the Octarine Parrot. Maybe we can track down Sapphire.